And Excel back with another FIFA 2026 World Cup podcast, day 12 now. And on day 11, the real Spain showed up as they hammered Saudi Arabia to all but book their place in the round of 32. That's easy for me to say. And with Lamine Yamal back in action, they look like a team capable of at least making the later stages, if not more. Saudi Arabia will now need to pick themselves up and get a win over Cape Verde that will be pretty likely to take them to the next round of this competition. But Cape Verde have been the story of this group and of the competition and followed their remarkable draw with Spain, led and then came back to get a 2-2 draw with Uruguay. They now effectively play a knockout game with the Saudis, but a draw could even be enough for second place in this group if Uruguay lose to Spain, which would be a sensational outcome if Cape Verde were to get that reward for their endeavours. Uruguay may now have to beat Spain to progress, although it is possible they could finish second or third in this group with a draw. But they have put their qualification for the next round in serious doubt following two poor results. All the conjecture and doubt about third place in this group and Group G on 3 points being enough to go through may be clearer by the time the last games are played in these groups, as a lot of the groups will have finished by the time those games take place. Talking about Group G, Egypt's comeback win over New Zealand puts them top of the group ahead of their final game with Iran. A draw in that game may be enough for them to win the group, whilst an Iranian win could see them top the group. But for Iran, a draw would ensure at worst third place in the group, maybe second. But if they finish third with a 0 goal difference, would that be enough to take them through to the round of 32? Well, as I said before, they may have a clearer idea of that by the time they play that game. Belgium laboured to a goalless draw against Iran. Lukaku looks well short of match fitness and his peak levels up front. And to a lesser extent, similar could be said of Kevin De Bruyne. And they badly missed Jeremy Doku, who was ill for this game and is talking about coming home for the birth of a child if they get to the knockout stages. So that's bad news all round. And they struggled to break down the lowest of low blocks deployed by Iran in this one. When Belgium went down to 10 men in the second half, an aged Iranian team that fielded the oldest ever World Cup 11 in that game yesterday could not muster the energy to take advantage. But overall, this is a great point for Iran and a poor result for Belgium, who, like Uruguay, now risk going out of the group stages. But for them, it would be in the second World Cup in a row, which would be a disaster and put a real bookend on the golden generation of Belgium in the wrong way. Belgium may well now need to beat New Zealand in their last game, as the third consecutive draw may not be enough for them to progress. Right, on to today's games. Starting with Argentina versus Austria. These two won their opening games in Group J, so this has the look of a group winning decider. In 2025-26, the Argentinians have played 14 matches, winning 12, drawing 1 and losing just 1. In those games, they've scored 34 and conceded just 4. Austria's record in that time is 110, drawn 2 and lost 2, scoring 33 and conceding 9. But one of those wins was a 10-0 against San Marino. So really, you're looking at um, in their 13 games, they've won 9, drawn 2, lost 2, scored 23 and conceded 9. So it's not quite as flattering. Austria looked like one of those European teams packed with experience and know-how of how to compete against good teams, but not good enough to beat the best teams. And Argentina looked like one of the best teams in this tournament in their opening game. So Messi and co looked to have too much at both ends of the field and probably in midfield for that matter for Austria to cope with. Argentina to win this game 2-0 and pretty much ensure they win the group before they face Jordan in the final group game is my verdict on that one. Second up will be France versus Iraq. France put one of the powerhouse performances of the opening games on the board, and they come up against an Iraq team that was soundly beaten by Norway. In 16 games in 25-26, France have won 11, drawn 1 and lost 3, scoring 36 and conceded 17. But in their last 10, they have won 8, drawn 1 and lost 1, but surprisingly have kept just one clean sheet in their last 8 games. So they're not in the sparkling form you might expect. Iraq will need to be much better than they were against Norway, though, and that loss makes it just 2 wins in their last 7, with 1 draw and 4 losses. As long as France don't take Iraq for granted, they should run out easy winners here, and I see them winning this 4-0. Norway against Senegal is next up. Following their good win over Iraq and Senegal's loss to France, it is Senegal that are much more in need of a win in this game, but they certainly can't afford to lose it, as that would put them in need of a wide margin win over Iraq in their final group game to have any chance of qualifying for the next round. Now, I thought Senegal were good against France and maybe better than that in the first half, so on that evidence, this should be a really good game. Regardless of the view on the AFCON final, one thing is for sure, Senegal are right up there with the best in Africa, but Norway are a fine team too, winning all 8 of the qualification games, including beating Italy twice. I think this should be a quality game between two very good teams, and of course Erling Haaland is key to everything Norway do, and how the Senegalese defence copes with him could be the deciding factor here. Neither team have kept many clean sheets recently, and I expect goals in what could be one of the best games to watch of the tournament so far. Senegal may have the edge in midfield, and if they can cut off the supply to Haaland, they have a chance to win this one. But if this game is drawn at the second half hydration break, it could be that both teams see a draw as a decent result. And if one's in front, the other will definitely want to come back for the draw. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this one. Last game of the day will be Jordan versus Algeria. Now, if Argentina beat Austria earlier, then a defeat to Jordan would see them eliminated, as they would be 3 points behind both Austria and Algeria and would have lost to both of them, therefore losing the head to head tiebreaker. And with both teams losing their opening game, in truth, a draw is little use to either of these teams. So both teams need to go for the win here. Before they were outclassed by Argentina, the Algerians had won 14, drawn 4, and lost 1 of their previous 19. But aside from their 2 pre tournament warm up games, that was generally against poor opposition. Jordan are now winless in their last 6 and have lost their last 3. So they're really in the doldrums. Algeria's players have found employment across Europe, and that experience at a high level should be enough to win them for this game, to get a win for them in this game, and I will take them to do so by a 2-0 margin. That would set them up for a second place decider with Austria in the final round of the group games, whilst Jordan get their bags packed ready to head home after the Argentina game. So that's my day 12 look at and look back to day 11. Back tomorrow with another update. See you soon.